Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey. What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success? Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
D-Square with you.
Go ahead. And Ray.
8-bit Ray's here. I thought we were doing another take.
Oh yeah, no, we're just flying by the seat of our pants tonight.
Play it where it lies.
Obviously, number one, JD is not with us. We're hoping he will join at some point. He is having car trouble. He is still on the show, I promise. I know this is 2 weeks without him.
Yeah, flat tires suck. I mean,
yeah.
And they're never convenient, ever.
No. Oh, God. I remember one time I got a flat tire on the off-ramp getting off 95 going onto the Ben Franklin Bridge. And there's like no shoulder there to pull over, barely any shoulder to pull over. It was just, worst thing ever. We didn't have a spare, had to call a tow truck. Yeah, it was annoying.
I've pulled off the very rare double flat tire, 2 flat tires at the same time, both because it was when I was a teenager, and you don't really have money to spend to $1,000 to get a new set of tires when they wear down, so you just run them until that happens.
Yes.
Also a 95, interestingly enough. In Connecticut, but yeah.
But since Don and Ray are here, that could only mean one thing. We're going to
torture them.
We must be discussing a classic superhero movie so
Indeed.
You're actually right this time.
Yeah, for once.
Hey, Batman and Robin is classic in its own way.
Yeah.
But before we get to all that
Classic
nonsense, how is everyone doing? John, how was your week?
Meh. I mean, there's like no other descriptors I can use. It's just meh. Been working a lot more, managing a couple of projects at work, and really, really boring stuff that nobody wants to hear.
Ah, okay.
I did find a really nice, good anime though, but I'll mention it during the recommendations.
Yes. And when we do talk about the movie, I want to talk about anime a little bit there. How about you, Ray? How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine and dandy, sir. Nothing really important to speak of. Nothing has happened. It's just been a stale existence.
That's good.
Considering the times we
John and Ray here to brighten up your day, everyone.
Hey, considering what's going on in the Ukraine right now, and COVID, and all these once in a generation things we're living through multiple times in our lives right now.
Yes, I'm tired of living through history.
Yeah, it's like boring is great, man. I had all week where like nothing happened, and I am happy about it.
All right, Don. How about you? Give us something to make us feel wonderful and happy.
Absolutely. I may be able to do that. We'll see. So I'm very, very excited because I have a 13-year-old son, and me and this son share very little in common. But one thing that we do share in common is Star Wars. He has been going through a Star Wars marathon the past couple of weekends. I mean, he's always kind of, I guess, seen it with me, but to sit down and to watch Star Wars, this is his first venture out. So I am excited. Well, okay, here's what's got me very bothered. Okay, and this is probably more my problem than his. Let me take you through the viewing order. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Number 1, Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
Number 2.
Why would you do that first? That's awful.
Okay, good. I'm not alone. I'm not alone on this.
You're gonna kill the whole thing for them right off the bat, huh?
Number 2.
You're also starting with the last movie, like.
Right. Exact. Yeah, I get it. And believe me, I did. I protested. I said, listen, you want to start chronologically or when they came out? And he chose, back assward. Second one, Rogue One. Oh,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Then he asked, hey, Dad, in which movie does Darth Vader die? And you see his face. I said, well, son, that's Return of the Jedi, but that's the third movie of the original trilogy. So you'll have to, that's where he goes, Return of the Jedi. Then he goes to Force Awakens. Then he said, The Last Jedi, and has stayed away from the prequels, and then just decided to watch The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett again. So that's his experience. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like me. This is madness. What abomination have you created? I don't know.
You've created a Star Trek fan.
Really? But that just goes to show you, he likes the world of Star Wars, and he could care less about the chronology, the continuity. He likes the last trilogy. Now, I'm also a current trilogy apologist. I'm sorry I'm going long here, but that's just how I am. The prequel trilogy, I loved. Everybody hated it. I was apologist for that. Now that we have the sequel trilogy, again, see, now that that's out, everybody's praising the prequel, but they hate the sequels. So now I'm a sequel apologist because I profess, although it would have been great to see Luke Skywalker be more Luke Skywalker, it was still a story that was given to me. And if you don't pick it apart, it's still very entertaining. So I am a current Star Wars trilogy apologist. So I don't mean to be.
So let me add on to that, where my son, who is 19, soon to be 20, grew up with the prequels. That's his Star Wars. He loves Obi-Wan from those. He loves that version of Yoda. Like, he loves the Clone Wars, the cartoon, and what was it? What's the name of the movie? No, what was the name of the movie?
There was a Clone Wars movie right before they did the Clone Wars. That's right. It
was just called the Clone Wars, right? Yeah, he even likes that movie, which a lot of people don't.
The animated one, you mean?
Yeah.
But wasn't that J. Michael Straczynski who did that? Or
I don't remember.
Tartakovsky Kennedy. I forget which one.
But that's his, you're sitting there saying you're an apologist for it, but that's how he discovered Star Wars. And he loves Star Wars. So and for somebody that's, the right age has discovered these new movies, and that's their Star Wars, like it or not, so I don't think you need to be an apologist. You just need to understand it. People like different things.
Absolutely.
John.
I've never railed against anybody liking anything. You're perfectly happy. You're perfectly fine to like trash if you like.
Yeah, I hate everything. That's what I'm known for. That's why they call me Hate-Bit Ray.
Right, that's awesome. That would totally be it. So yeah, I'm very excited on all that. And on last note, I remember watching episode 1 of my favorites, believe it or not, Phantom Menace, and thinking, wow, all this war over trade routes and people denying that there's an invasion, how could that ever happen? And then now we have the Russia-Ukraine stuff. So boy, is Star Wars more poignant than some people give credit for. So anyway, very excited. Dave, how about you, man? How is your week gone?
Good. I'm doing everything in my power to avoid my anxiety about the possibility of World War III. But that aside, this is an entertainment podcast, so let's not dwell on.
And besides, you should be over it. I mean, you're nearly my age. I remember being in grade school and doing the duck and cover drills. So,
hey, man, Ukraine's got fighter pilots that are like legitimate ace. Ghost of Kiev, look it up. It's awesome.
Yeah,
nice.
First ace in like 50 years.
Just one little. Okay.
There's also another Ukrainian that has officer kills too. Yeah, I can't remember what they call him. He has a nickname too.
Yeah. Entertainment podcast. I know we want to move on, but I'm just saying, Russia's not doing as good as we thought they would. Okay.
No.
It's been amazing. Just one little other fact: the largest plane in the world was housed in the Ukraine, and the Russians just bombed it. Yeah. And they're also the Russians also screwed up, and was it Chernobyl is starting to leak radiation again. So yay! Okay, really fun stuff.
Right. So
where are you at, Superman? We need you.
So now that we're handling Dave's anxiety with all this talk of it.
So one of the things I've done to handle my anxiety is
Marijuana.
really getting back into the gym. And
that's a great choice.
Yeah,
Well, marijuana at the gym. Okay.
Though I did really push myself last night, and I'm regretting that now. But I'm here to entertain or something.
Feeling the burn, feeling the flow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then it's funny because we went to the gym and then got home and laid in bed and watched a movie and was eating popcorn, and I'm like,
Netflix
I just like. And you know, drinking soda and eating popcorn. I'm like, I just worked out. Now I'm stuffing crap in my face. Like,
yeah, it's like the gym I used to go to. Like right outside of it was a Krispy Kreme. Like, man, all I want to get is a donut. But if I eat one Krispy Kreme donut, that negates the whole 3-hour workout. So I never did it.
There's a pizza place right next to my gym.
Of course there is.
You can smell it as soon as you're walking out. Yeah, it's horrible. Speaking of things that are horrible,
go home and have a salad. Cry.
I think we should move on to some social media madness because, you know, John can't live without it.
Now John can cry.
How did you see that? I mean, I was wiping away the tears.
Speaking of John, this first tweet is specifically geared at him.
I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove anything.
So when we were last week, we were talking about Peacemaker. I mean, I'm sorry. We talked about what's the name of that show? No, Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were talking about the Jack Reacher TV show, and John said he preferred the Tom Cruise movies. And our good friend Marky Mark from the So Wizard podcast said, "No one is a bigger Tom Cruise fan than me, but when John states that he likes the Jack Reacher movie over the Amazing Reacher show on Amazon, I really have to question his taste." And then it's a gif of Will Smith saying, "There's something wrong with your brain."
Yeah.
Well, if you listen to So Wizard this week, then you would know that Marcellus is going through that show for the second time. So he's really into that show and into that universe. So
well,
good.
I was going to say I'm behind on So Wizard. I haven't listened to this week's episode yet, but spoilers. Spoiler alert.
I just think the movie was better. You don't need a mesomorph walking around to appreciate the fact that the guy was also a brilliant, a brilliant investigator. So,
though my
you don't have to explain yourself to somebody who's questioning your taste over your Tom Cruise preference and not over the brony stuff. That I mean,
of course, our reply to Mark was me saying we do every week, and it was Robert Downey Jr. rolling his eyes.
Nice.
Love you, John. All right, moving on. We had talked about the Smallville coming back as a cartoon, possibly. It's still in the works, but Tom Welling and not John Rosenbaum. What's his first name?
Michael Rosenbaum.
Michael Rosenbaum. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are talking about doing it. And of course, Tom Welling said now that what's her face? Lois Lane is on board to do the cartoon as well. So Random Randy Savage from Colt 45 said, "I honestly don't want Tom anymore. I want Michael Rosenbaum. I want the whole Smallville told from Lex's point of view until he goes to jail for writing The Sun and Supergirl."
I'm sorry, like Tom Welling looks like a Superman.
Yeah.
And he's also built like one too. Like, that Smallville started, he was just a scrawny kid, but he grew up to be, he's got the build for it and everything. He's got the look.
Both of them have come out and said this would be a continuation off where the show ended. So it would be him as Superman at this point. It wouldn't be Clark Kent running around.
He wouldn't have to do as much work. It's just a voice act. So of course that's why they want to do it. That's why I kind of roll my eyes at this. Now, I'm not a big Smallville fan. I mean, I love the Justice Society. I think it was like a 2-episode thing. That was great.
Yeah.
But I can't get excited over somebody said, I won't show up to work, but hey, I'll make some tape. Like, it doesn't, like, I get, yeah, of course you want to do it because it's easy work. Like, come on, if you're going to do it, do it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I also think this allows him to avoid putting the costume on, which is something he was doing for a long time.
Well, also something they might not allow in a live action series, right? Because they always tie up the rights or who can wear what when and say who they are based on the movies and what the WB is like.
He didn't even get to wear the S until the very last 10 seconds of the show.
Well, they never even showed him in full costume. They never
Yeah,
panned down to
right.
show the S on him. It's like,
Listen.
it was the worst tease ever. They did when he flew out of the Fortress of Solitude, they showed his face and then they did a cut to the S, but never showed him.
Well, you kind of get it at the end when he's ripping the shirt off.
Yeah, he's ripping the shirt off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
he's wearing what's his face's costume from
it's the black costume.
No, it's the costume from Superman Returns.
The Reeves or
no, not Reeves. Oh my
guy.
God!
Yeah, I
the
can't
other
remember
guy.
his name.
He's the Atom in the
CW shows, right?
Yes, yeah, and it's funny because Tom Welling did talk about that in an interview. Like, it didn't really fit him well. Like, that's why you only get. He says it's the only reason you get the one shot, but I think it's more than that. Bob Jones said, "I need to see what type of animation style they're going with. If it's that '90s DC animated universe style, I'll pass." John,
what do you mean the Bruce Timm stuff? That wasn't bad. I mean,
that's what I was about to say. That stuff was pretty cool if I remember. But
yeah, it was. I mean, they did a couple of revamps on it over the years. Towards the end, some of the character designs were more simplified and a little bit weirder. But all in all, like, it's better than some of the other animation that did. But I mean, they could do something with the animation techniques of today. There's no like. Get like Studio Madhouse from Japan to do it, and you'll have the best animation you've ever seen on cell. So
yeah,
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like that's.
But
I thought it was a weird comment because a lot of people love those cartoons. So I just thought it was.
But who asked for it to be in a cartoon? Like who was in the boardroom going, "All right, guys, we're gonna bring back Smallville. Oh, awesome. No, but it's gonna be a cartoon. What? But why? Oh, because we're bringing back Batman the Animated Series. I guess we need like a counterpart. I don't know. I really don't know.
They've got a big dartboard in the room. They snort a line of Coke, and then they throw a dart, and then they throw another dart, and they keep going until they have a show concept. That's basically it.
This whole thing started with on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. Tom Welling was a guest, and they were talking, and it kind of came up, but a lot of fans reacted to it. So then they said, okay, well, maybe we will do it. They started writing scripts.
How did they not already know that the fans would like they've been clamoring for that for decades, ever since it ended.
Agreed.
I enjoyed Smallville though, as a whole. I mean, because I got a thing for the B villains, the parasites and things like that, and you got a lot of that. You wouldn't get that now because you have to stick to the main cast. You have to stick to the actual Justice League so that they can, sell tickets.
Then, all right, well, moving on. We had talked about the live action Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie.
That's going to be
I'd rather have a live action Chippendale movie with Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze.
Oh my gosh.
Are you going to...
Unfortunately, that can never happen, but,
I was going to say, are you going to call the Ghostbusters? Oh, I'm sorry, that was bad. Too soon? And, of course, our good friend Random Randy Savage again said... No, I would just like to see the group of old weathermen sitting around a boardroom table, fully erect at the idea of a revival of Disney cartoons, so I can gouge my eyes out immediately after.
Wow.
Thank you for drawing that picture. Now set it on fire, and she'll never speak of it again.
Oh my God, Randy. Yeah, I don't like. I said when we talked about this, was it last week, John, or was it 2 weeks ago? That I don't understand who this movie's for. Like, it's just it's weird.
No idea. I mean,
I mean, I can't call myself a huge fan of Chippendale Rescue Rangers, but honestly, I watched it when it was on. It was on after school every day, and I was a little bit older, but I don't know. I didn't have really much else to do. But the Nintendo game, like me and my buddy used to play all the time. That was like legit one of the first great co-op games I ever played, and I'll always remember Chippendale. I don't know.
It was last week because that was basically exactly what Joey said. Like, he wasn't a big fan of the cartoon, but he loved the games on the Nintendo.
With that said, I've got no desire to see a live action. I mean, my kids might love it because it's cute, but I don't know.
I said it was strange to me because I was a fan of that show, and like I'm watching this trailer and I'm like, this does not appeal to me at all. Like, so I don't get it, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's not even something that I'd have it on in the background. I'm not even curious at all.
like, I understand the argument you make these movies for the kids, but it's such an old property that hasn't been around in a long time. Kids aren't aware of it, and you have to have something that grabs the adults to go see it, to bring their kids.
Right, because the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was an offshoot of just Chip and Dale, which were just two squirrels back in Disney animated stuff, you know.
Chipmunks.
So chipmunks, right. They just, you know, of course, Tailspin is just some of the Jungle Book people and, you know, whatever. But even Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers itself is an offshoot. And yeah, I don't know. It's not something kids know about. So I don't know who they're grabbing at.
Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. It was all in that same time frame. I remember.
Yep. There was a Goofy show. That one I didn't like. Darkwing Duck, though,
was wicked.
That was
whacked
great.
out. That was cool.
The Liquidator. Like, oh, I love that. That was such a great spoof on Batman.
Yeah.
So this next one, it's a shame that JD is not here because he specifically got a tweet at him. So a couple weeks ago, we were talking about, got into a conversation about Star Wars. Surprise, surprise on this podcast. JD made some points about how the movies lacked continuity, and Drew Carlson said, JD is my spirit animal. I 100% agree. Kennedy's a big flaw with Star Wars was not controlling the story to make sure it was one big narrative. So what you will about Feige, say what you will about Feige, but the Marvel Universe is coherent and tight, even if the directors feel a bit micromanaged. And JD did reply to it, said, thanks, man. But, you know.
That would be my one complaint about the sequel trilogy, that it is obvious that The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker is one story, and The Last Jedi is kind of another in the middle. I can agree with that. So, yeah, I mean, that's a tightrope. I mean, I know that Kevin Feige, or in this case, Feige, I don't know, he does control the narrative, and I know that it sours some directors into not diving into the universe. So, you know, I get it. You got to, but you have to give artists, which directors are artists, you know, some freedom there. So you can't have everything fit in a box, you know. And hey, listen, the comic books that the Marvel Cinematic Universe are based off of, their continuity's fucked up. So,
right,
like, I don't it's not going to make everything right. So I agree with the tweet, but you can't always have your universe in this tight box. Sometimes it just has to grow organically.
Yes, agreed. And I would just like to say I'd like to say to Drew, thank you for being a fan of JD. And if you message us, we'll give you his home address so you can stalk him. Anyway. And then finally, we had talked about the Lightyear trailer and how confusing the meta Buzz Lightyear movie is. And again, our good friend Ranta Brandy Savage said, it's the beginning of Pixar's dark and gritty resurgence. Some animations, but with more adult same animations, but with more adult themes. Now we have to wait for the ultimate Incredibles movie.
Now that actually, that would be nice.
Oh my God, no.
That would be pretty cool.
I don't want a dark and gritty Pixar universe.
or we could have we could have like a Monsters Inc. where the monsters actually like kill the children in brutal ways.
Oh my God.
Think of the possibilities.
You've put that idea out in the universe. Someone is now going to animate that, and it's gonna.
I'm in. Put it on Hulu.
Oh my God.
That's where Disney dumps all their R-rated properties.
Toys would stay the same though, because it's already a horror show. You've got living things that are being blown up by children using fireworks. You've got
Toy Story. I thought you said the toy. I'm like, that's a little bit.
No, that's true too. Yeah, no, Toy Story. Toy Story's already a horror.
The toy was a rich white man that bought a black man. It was terrible.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
It was our Superman
3. Yep. Yep. Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I still remember him spinning around in that big toy. And
a movie I was shocked was made at all, but you would never be able to make that today. No. All right. So that is it for Social Media Madness. But if you want to know how you can follow us on social media and be part of Social Media Madness, here's our good friend D Square to tell you more.
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of Social Media Madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter at SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for hashtag GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
So you gonna tell us or what?
Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Don. And while we're here, Don, why don't you plug the Omega Level Nerds podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Best thing you can do is, of course, go on Twitter, follow us at Omega Level Nerds. That'll have our link to our YouTube where you can find all the shows. We are also on Apple Podcast and Podbean and some other ones. However, the most up-to-date stuff is going to be on the YouTube there. So just, follow us at Omega Level Nerds.
And Ray, where can people find the Gorilla Brain podcast?
Find the Gorilla Brain podcast on any podcasting app that's out there. Preferably Spotify. And if you do, leave a 5-star review because that would help push the show a little bit more. Also, you can catch me on Twitter at Gorilla Brain Pod. If you don't like anything I have to say, then by all means, reach out. I will respond. Instagram at Gorilla Brain Podcast. Yeah, I mean, and you can also catch me on Twitch, usually nightly. So if you got that late night itch and you want to hear my seductive voice play over some Apex Legends or whatever game I happen to be playing that night, then catch me at 8-Bit Ray. And back to you, Dave.
I think if you don't like what Ray says on Twitter, you won't like his response either. And on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. We got a little bit of news to talk about this week, and then we have a movie to discuss. So, first topic here. The movie's not even out yet, guys, and they're already talking about a Batman sequel and it possibly being a trilogy for the Batman. Matt Reeves, the Batman starring a sparkly vampire. I mean,
they are. I mean, they're really taking a chance. No, I mean, we don't even really know how good the first movie is. It could bomb hard.
This goes back to what everyone says is the DC problem. Like, number one, they put the cart before the horse, and okay, there's buzz about this movie, but it's not out yet. So you don't know if it's going to be a success. They're going to try to like put this out and then build a universe around this movie. And if it fails, then they're back in the same boat as they are with the Snyderverse. I don't know. I mean,
and people are already like worried that it's a little bit like not dark, but just, like there's only so much gritty people really want in a movie.
But the Batman grit is a success formula. But I'm with you. I'm kind of done with it. Like, I want to lighten it up a little bit. And this is just
you want to go back to Batman and Robin? You want to take that step back?
No. But I mean, there is a very healthy amount of space between those two that you could put a good movie in, and it's just like the guys at WB are like, well, that one didn't work. That was really dark and gritty. Let's make it darker and grittier. That's obviously going to make it work, right? No, the jigsaw Riddler thing. That's not who the Riddler is.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's a little to me that's a little much. Like, I did like some of the darker aesthetics. Like, I really like the fact that the bat symbol on his suit is made from the gun that killed his parents. Like, I was like digging that. But this whole like jigsaw trash bag man Riddler
man.
Yeah.
I'm just not getting the vibe. Reference. But as I said before on the show, I cannot shit talk Batman movies that much because they always seem to work. Hence why they're like, it'll be a trilogy.
Batman and Robin worked.
Well, okay, time
well
has
enough
soured that one greatly, but yeah, no, they fucked with Bane, so yeah, that was pretty much the
They
first.
fucked with
Okay,
everything
this
in that.
sucks. Well, they
Yeah.
Now,
did.
had Batman and Robin completely shit the bed, you wouldn't have got your beloved Batman Begins there, John.
Oh, that's
Correct.
true. That's true. I'll give you props for that. Yeah, but I mean, the '90s was when everybody was dark and brooding, right? But Bruce Timm
Yeah.
showed that you can have a dark and brooding character, but still, like, functionally, sound of mind, right? You get the more dark and gritty you make Batman himself, the less functionally becomes is what he's supposed to be, which is a brilliant investigator and detective and and a good fighter, right? If he's always like, what is he gonna do? Every time he punches somebody, yell out "Mom!" I mean, like, come on, it's getting ridiculous.
Well, the question becomes: at
Martha.
what point does Batman become the Punisher? Right? Like, we don't want him to be the Punisher, but yet it feels like in the movies that's what they're pushing him towards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
he doesn't
Good
kill.
point.
Outside of that, though, yeah, he's Punisher light.
Oh no, he doesn't kill, except in every movie.
Well,
he's got quite the body count. He's like, here's a bomb.
Yeah, even
push
going
you
back
down
to
the hole. It's like-
even going back to Batman '89, he blows up the Ajax chemical factory with everyone in it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't
He
know.
burns someone alive in Batman Returns. That's a pleasant way to die.
I saw a meme once where it was like, and I don't remember the full context, but it was basically a picture of Batman, and it was like saying it was saying like Batman in the 80s, 90s, blah blah, and it kept getting darker and darker, and then it said eventually, it was all black, like you couldn't see anything. Like that's the road they're headed down with Batman, and it's true. It's like every iteration gets darker and grittier and more realistic, and that's what the fans want, and that's why they got a dark and brooding Superman. Like, they don't understand they have to balance out the characters as well.
I don't know. Batfleck was pretty dark and broody. Like, he didn't have 1 ounce of happiness in his heart. You could tell.
Well, presumably though, that's a Batman after Robin got beat with a crowbar.
Well, also,
but you look at the way he was characterized. He was still like able to function and flirt with Diana and whatever. He wasn't constantly brooding.
He had no joy in his heart because it was a Ben Affleck after he read the script for Justice League.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice one.
So
I don't think he was back with J-Lo yet. And Lo, I imagine he's a pretty dark place. Thankfully, he's with J-Lo again. So good for you, buddy.
None of us are with J-Lo. All right.
Gave up Jennifer Gardner for J-Lo.
Lovely.
I don't know.
Oh, no,
I know.
no, please.
Did you ever see J-Lo in Money Train? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. She's the bee's knees, to put it.
All right. Moving on. This article I pulled specifically for John because he's the only Babylon 5 fan I really know.
Incorrect.
You should see the 4 foot by 4 foot picture I have hanging on my wall. It cost me a fortune to frame it. It's of the Babylon 5 station. It's right over there.
So the Babylon 5 reboot on the CW is still moving forward without Michael J. Straczynski.
Netflix is doing a reboot of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they lost the original creators on that. This is Straczynski's going to walk away from this. I don't know what these places think they're doing if they think they're going to capture the same magic without the guys who made that freaking magic. Well, I mean, there are stories you can tell in the Babylon 5 universe, but you're not going to retell the original story without Straczynski.
I guarantee he came in with a vision on how to do the reboot, and they went, well, yeah, but we've already made all these decisions so we can hit the 4 quadrants and hit the right markets, and you have to make these work. And he said no, and that's, they said, well, we'll do it without you.
Don't you wish you could be a billionaire and you could just walk up to Straczynski and just say, here's $1 billion, go make a new Babylon 5, do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, he doesn't own the rights to it, so you can't do that. Copyright law sucks.
They can remake and do whatever the hell they're going to do with Babylon 5. I'm one person. John's one person. So that's 2 people that can't stop the corporation. Okay.
Yeah.
So all I'm asking for is give me my Babylon 5 on Blu-ray. That's all I want.
True.
That's all I want.
The whole series.
I'm tired. I am tired of this fucking standard def crap. I want my high definition. I got my Star Trek Next Generation in Blu-ray. I need all my great sci-fi. Stargate I got in Blu-ray. all my great sci-fi I need in high definition. The way
Did
it
they
was
shoot
intended.
those in high definition?
No, but I love them anyway.
But they can re-render almost all of the graphics.
Yeah, they had to do that with X-Files. When they re-rendered Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and X-Files, they had a lot of trouble with that. They fixed it now. So everything that comes out in high definition that was standard format is now pretty much perfect.
But you're not going to get on this thing. You're not going to get writing that's going to give you like Ivanova, right? Remember, like she's had some of the best lines throughout the entire series. You're not going to get the same depth of storyline. It's just not going to.
Are they bringing back any of the same writers? Like, or are they just saying this is an idea? Like, okay, here, Babylon 5 remake. Have they announced anything?
No, they haven't. I don't think they've announced anyone who's in the writing room, because eventually it was Straczynski was going to be the showrunner for it, and then he walked away from the project. So
probably for a reason. He probably saw what they had planned and said, "Nah, I'm out of here." He Alan Moore'd that shit right out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Although he's not Alan Moore, he actually just does good work, and he kind of likes what he does, right?
And he'll take a check, I'm sure.
He'll take a check, but he'll still write something good. Like he took a check for, what is it, Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, and the storyline you got was way better than just some simple stupid thing that's supposed to sell toys, and that was way back, right? Yeah. Like he's got this. All I can say is Airbender, the last Airbender, the movie. Name any anything that was done without the original characters. Any movie like that, it's just going to be horrible. It's just going to be another, cash grab.
True. What was it I was watching? Oh, it was the Thundercats reboot, where it was like the guy who created the show said he never watched the original cartoon. It was like, then why are you doing this?
You could tell he did a love triangle with Lion-O and Chitara and the other guy. And it was a forced love triangle.
Tigra or Panther?
Tigra. Okay. Tigra. And it was one of those things where it's just, he obviously the guy was misogynist too, because he wrote Chitara like this, like she could have just said one thing that she and Tigra had a connection from long ago, and there would have been no love triangle, but they forced the love triangle thing every freaking episode. It was stupid.
I've never watched an episode of it. I saw the clips and I was like, yeah, not for me. But yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. You have to have some respect for the source material. So we'll see.
But if the fan base is so little, like you said, you don't know anybody but John and now me that love Babylon 5. So who's asking for this? Is it just the property they had laying in their pocket and they're like,
probably
pull it out? Yeah, okay. I figured as much.
There's still Babylon 5 people at the comic book, but at the comic shows, but not a whole lot. Like I still see more people doing cosplay for The Greatest American Hero than I do Babylon 5. But if you ask people about Babylon 5, I have never talked to anybody where that was brought up in conversation where they didn't have really fond memories of it. Like if they are fans, they've got very strong feelings about it.
Yeah. What was that show that was running alongside Babylon 5? It was a whole another show, but it was a sci-fi, kind of the same concept. I know it wasn't. Yeah, Farscape. Yeah, Farscape.
Yeah, I always confuse that Babylon 5.
Yeah, a lot of people get those mixed up, and then I get pissed off.
How do they mix those two up?
You'd be surprised.
Wow. I think it's because the guy with the big nose is featured in both shows. I don't know. I used to work at GameStop. We had toys for both, and they look the same.
Oh, well, yeah. I
can't talk crap about the show. I never watched it, but
yeah, neither did I.
It was good. Farscape was way out there. Yeah,
it might still be, maybe, possibly. I haven't looked in a couple of years, but maybe. But Babylon 5 was, yeah.
All right,
that's all I got. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Go watch the damn show.
You should. Anybody listening to this, that is one. If you're a sci-fi person, that is one of the best shows that ever has been put out so far. It's amazing.
I mean, Ray, you said who asked for this reboot? Who asked for a live action Chip and Dale movie? I mean,
yeah, this is true.
They're only trying to bank off of the live action Alvin and the Chipmunks. That was so successful with kids. That's all it is. And then they saw, Space Jam. Remember the Space Jam 2 or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
And they threw all these cameos and things and Easter eggs in there. And Chip and Dale is the exact same thing. They're just trying to capitalize on it. That's all it is. It's a cash grab. They don't really care about Chip and Dale. Disney trying to make a buck, trying to maybe start a franchise.
I know. Poor Disney's hurting for money.
Yeah.
But imagine that they've got so much money, they could just be like, let's see if this goes. Now, okay, let's see if this, that's really what they're doing. They're throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah. Give me a live action Tailspin. That's what
I'll take that. I did enjoy some Tailspin. Higher for hire.
Well, I think the next thing they're throwing at the wall is Agatha House of Harkness. And
I don't know that's throwing it at a wall so much as this is an awesome train. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, I don't think they thought Catherine Hahn would be as popular in this role.
Right. And she recently was speaking with Entertainment Weekly and said that the spinoff is exactly what she had hoped for. And I thought this was interesting. She also said it's crazy the kind of buoying. Thank you. God. That this big chapter happened post kids for me, said Hahn. I subconsciously was taught that after I had kids, I'd had to drop my ambition ball. And that really didn't seem to be the case. In fact, more doors opened. Just I like stories like that where, obviously in Hollywood they say you reach a certain age and your appeal disappears.
That has always been the stupidest thing, though.
It is.
That was always a Hollywood thing,
right?
So,
yeah. But
I'm sure she didn't see herself as like sexy. Because let's face it, she's got kind of like a big nose. But honestly,
she's kind of hot. I mean, she's
really hot. Like I know I like strange taste in women, but one of my tastes for whatever reason is a rather large nose and great hair, and she has both. So I'm all about it.
Big, like features aside, like you watch her act.
Right. No,
how many people could have pulled that? She's got a light inside of her and it just shines. And it is, it's brilliant.
We all have
like
that light,
that,
John.
like that role was made for her.
What was that, Ray?
Oh, I said it's like that role was just tailor-made just for her, like her personality and her acting ability. Yeah, she was probably my favorite part of the entire show. And when they announced that she got a spinoff, I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's keep that vibe going though. Let's not go all Dark World all at once. Let's kind of keep that the early WandaVision vibe going.
Well, it's going to be weird because right now Agatha Harkness has been brainwashed into being a Midwestern housewife. So, if
I was able to brainwash somebody to be a Midwestern housewife, it'd be her.
It'll be interesting to see where they go with it. I want to this is again the difference between
John,
DC.
You know where they're going. Well, Mephisto. They need another series so that people can be like Mephisto.
Yeah, well,
maybe we'll get it this time. We'll see.
Probably. Yeah.
Roll the dice.
But
oh my God,
no, yeah, Dave, you're finally catching on to it.
No. I completely forgot. I can't remember. It may have been Ray.
I did. It was me.
You sent was it on Instagram?
No,
did you send a video?
I sent it on Twitter. Check the chat.
Oh, it was in the chat. That's what it was. It was a video. Yeah. It was like, every time I see this, I think this is how John is. And it was somebody watching, was it WandaVision or whatever? Watching a bunch of Marvel clips. And every time the guy would go, Mephisto.
Yep.
Mephisto.
Yep.
Well, obviously.
John's like, he's on to something.
Yes. Well, hopefully we'll get Mephisto in the Harkness TV show. That would make John happy.
It would be nice.
I think it would just shut him up.
It's going to get to the point where everybody's like, they tease Mephisto. Everybody's like, it's not going to be Mephisto. Let's figure out who else it could be. And then the show will go on. It's like, well, they finally got us. It's Mephisto.
And then no one's going to care.
Right.
Like, oh,
yeah.
We cared 3-4 years ago. You let us down.
This is true.
Remember when Superhero Speak was ranting about it every week that it was Mephisto?
I wonder if we'll get
the hype's gone.
Are we going to get a Mephisto tease in Multiverse of Madness?
You're going to get all kinds of teases. They're going to have that has a lot to live up to.
Well, Cthulhu's going to be in that. You've got what was the other one? The Kung Fu movie. Shoot.
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi had the Dweller in Darkness. You've probably got Mephisto coming up. You've got Cthulhu.
Oh, there it is.
Cthulhu is basically way more powerful than just about anything in the Marvel universe. He's an entity that's been around since the beginning of the universe, according to the current, canon. So, like, you got a lot of weird characters coming out now.
Well, and giving us America, what's her last name?
America Chavez.
Yeah. Like the door, like she can teleport to any of the universes. Like that's her power. Yeah. Like you're giving us that now, so the door's open for anything at this point.
Yeah, but I am afraid that it won't live up to our expectation. That's my biggest fear. That's gonna be like Book of Boba Fett, how it didn't live up to our expectations of Boba Fett.
Well, yeah, but the Marvel properties, how many of them haven't lived up to your expectations?
Ant-Man.
I thought Ant-Man was pretty good.
Ant-Man and Wasp. Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah, Thor: The Dark World.
Thor: The Dark World actually gets better with age. Like not great, but better. Yeah, but
I don't hate that movie as much as others.
Not Incredible Hulk.
Okay, so
yeah, well, that's not part of the MCU.
That's out of what 30, 40 movies are we up to now? Whatever, like and those may be the ones that you say they didn't live up to your expectations. You had very high expectations, didn't you?
Of course I did. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, probably the biggest letdown in the MCU. At least when I went to see Ant-Man, I knew what I was going in to see, Ant-Man. But Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or the first Guardians, had set such a precedence. And then when 2 came out, I'm like, lame. So now it's in my bottom of the MCU. It does nothing for me.
All right, I am officially taking my curmudgeon crown off and handing it to you, man.
Yeah, I was going to say
way more critical than I am.
Any movie that has David Hasselhoff in it automatically gets 5 stars for me. So I mean,
Kurt Russell,
and everybody living in Europe. What? Kurt Russell? Yeah, Kurt Russell. Damn it, you can't go wrong with Kurt Russell. I don't understand how you can not like that movie now.
It did nothing for me. I didn't like that Ego was a human. Like, and then he got Quill's mom pregnant.
Oh, that was it.
Rocket's an asshole just for story purposes. It made no real sense of why he was jealous of Quill. It was it's just so stupid. I'm not here to rant and rave about Guardians 2, a movie that's like what 4 or 5 years old now.
No, you're here to rant about a movie that's 24 years old. Right.
Absolutely.
So
damn straight.
At least that was quality.
On that note,
wow,
we're going to take our second commercial break, and we'll be right back with our main topic.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
As Don runs away.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just getting ready. Get ready. We're talking about Blade.
Oh no.
He's getting into character. He's getting into character. This is not cool. Not cool.
I know there's no video, but all right.
For those who are listening, okay, we're back. Yeah. And for those listening on audio,
8-bit, what are you saying?
Don's not looking like Blade. He's looking like fucking Silent Bob.
Yeah. I don't care.
Nice.
So for those listening, Don ran out and came back with a black leather trench coat on and a sword in his hand so that he could talk about this 1998 movie, Blade, starring Wesley Snipes. All right. So let's see. What was I doing here? Bring up. So yeah, let's see.
The power of the trench coat.
Yes, exactly. 1998, $45 million budget, made $131 million at the box office. So first Marvel hit movie.
Done right before The Matrix. It was The Matrix before The Matrix.
Yes.
No music, fights,
written by
which
David
I take umbrage with because I bought this trench coat because of Blade, but everybody assumed it was because of Matrix. So
directed by Stephen Norrington. Written by David S. Goyer, of course, based on Blade by Marvel Comics. And let's get into this. Starring Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, Kirk Christopherson. So
I gave Tracy Lords like one of the main credits, and she was only in like the first few minutes.
Yeah. So let's we've talked about, obviously the last time we were all together, we talked about Batman and Robin, the movie that nearly destroyed all superhero movies at that point. But luckily, at the same time, a little low budget Marvel movie was being made. That was Blade. It came out the very next year. It came out in August and was a huge success for Marvel. Basically saved the company at that point.
Yeah, they were in bankruptcy. Yeah.
Yep.
And then Blade came out and kept that boat afloat all the way to the Disney money, baby.
Yep.
So you can get on your hands and knees and thank Wesley Snipes for saving Marvel, or otherwise we might have nothing but DC movies.
All right. So obviously we all saw this movie when it came out.
Yep.
We all loved it. Then we come back 24 years later and watch it again. I have to admit, I haven't watched it in a while. And I watched it today before we record it. And I'm just kind of curious, does everyone feel that it holds up?
Absolutely.
The only part I don't feel holds up, but it really didn't take me out of it, were some of the effects. Outside of that, it held up to me.
If you knew the effects that they were originally going to use at the end, that they tested, the audience tested, and they threw it out just before they released the movie, and just took it out and put in a regular fight scene at the end. Like, wow, yeah, we're talking Spawn type graphic, only worse. So it was, but I think it held up. It's still the most 90s movies that ever 90'd in the 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. It's a very 90s action movie. Like, it doesn't feel like a comic book movie.
Yeah, you get those action movies where like people are shooting on a street and you see all the background people that are all the background secondary characters. They're just walking around like nothing's happening.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of that. It's like,
yes, a lot of one-liners from Wesley Snipes. A lot of one-liners.
Yeah, at least he was conscious for this one. So
we'll eventually get to Trinity, but let's start with this movie.
We don't have to get to Trinity. We never really have to get to Trinity.
I'm going to agree with John on that. Do we really have to do Trinity?
Yes, because Trinity is what helped bring Ryan Reynolds into the MCU.
That is true. That's true.
I think
we'll get to it eventually, but the term Thunder Cunt, I think, sealed the deal on that one.
Yes.
Talk about one-liners. Do you think the one-liners were bad in this movie? Oh, dear God, no.
You notice Triple H was never in any other movies.
Yeah, he was. He was in that what was it, like a babysitter movie or something? Yeah, with the Big Show, I think it was, or something. I can't remember what. It's out there.
You have to forgive me. I was not aware that Triple H and the Big Show were in a movie together. That is
pretty sure it was
about babysitting.
About babysitting, right?
Yeah.
So,
Dave.
But I always remember Blade because I had to pay a homeless guy money to get a ticket because I was only 13. Couldn't get into a rate. Yeah, we're not all that old. So I had to pay the guy. So I had to pay the guy to get me a ticket to get into Blade. So that's how I always remember Blade. 13 years old, slipping a guy a $5, and yeah, that I enjoyed myself.
I will say that too. If Blade had been made today, Disney or not, I think they would have just cut back on the violence a little bit, and it would have been a PG-13 movie.
Well,
and the guy getting a blowjob.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that you guys. Where did you see it? Because I had trouble finding it, and I finally found it on Peacock because everything else wanted me to pay for it, and it's one of the few DVDs I don't have in my collection. But I should probably get it. But the thing is, on Peacock, it was still cut up on Peacock.
So John,
they blanked out a lot of the swearing and stuff.
Did they? I watched it on Peacock.
There was one or two times when he said "mother effer," and they just left the audio out.
You know, I didn't notice that, but I will say that, John, it made me hate your company. I mean, the company that owns Peacock even more, because now I'm one of those that, as an Xfinity customer, so we get Peacock for free, premium we're supposed to get for free, and I go and I watch the movie and there's commercials in it anyway, and I'm like, what the heck's the point of premium if they're going to put commercials in it?
I cannot comment on anything having to do with Peacock.
Oh, see, I rented
stupid decision to put commercials in.
I rented it on Amazon, so I didn't experience any of that.
Yeah,
I pulled out the Blu-ray.
I
almost rented it on Amazon. I'm like, well, wait, that's right. I can get Peacock. Let me just download it and try this app. It's the first time I did it. Probably will be the last time I do it. And then I kept giving commercials for this. I can't remember the name of the company. It's a cellular thing, and it made me hate the company.
US Cellular.
No. It was a couple were married, and they said like they would talk and text, and they got married, and then they went on the family plan to save money because it made sense. And then they said, and we kept growing our family plan. They show all these kids. And then the wife goes, and then yesterday my sister told me about, and I can't, whatever the company, she's like, I only pay $21.95. So it was like, get family plan pricing without the family. And it was just like, really? That's the angle you want to go for?
Family plan pricing. Now back to blood and guts and
yes,
people getting
exactly.
cut in half. Yes.
Well, that's the other thing.
It always makes me laugh when you see the commercials for like I don't know, like a medicine that'll cure up your irritable bowel syndrome or something. but then they go through all the side effects, like will cause anal rupturing and all kinds of things like that. But you see like a guy picking up a kid in the background, swinging him around, all happy. Like, you know, if your asshole was ripping, you wouldn't be tossing a baby.
This is true.
So
all right.
I guess we all liked the movie because we're ripping on the commercials now.
All right. So let's let's talk about Blade. I will say this. It's an interesting movie in the fact that like it's a quote unquote comic book movie. It's a superhero movie. But what's the one thing that we don't really get in this movie that you get in every first superhero movie? You don't really get an origin.
You don't need it. You're going in blind. The opening scene of Blade, you don't need an origin story to set up that this is a bad motherfucker. Okay, He walks in and kills an entire room of vamps.
Well, actually, the opening scene is his mother giving birth to him and dying.
There's your origin. Are you going to complain?
No, I'm saying like, but that's like that's it. And then we flash forward to today.
Do you want the Batmanisms? Do you want to go through, Martha dying? Okay.
Well, because let's face it, the reason why this movie was successful in 1998 had nothing to do with the fact that he was a superhero or that it was a comic character. This was in the middle of vampire, and this is essentially a vampire movie.
Yeah,
Tracy Lords, right? That's after we see him birth, then we get to see Tracy Lords take some guy to the, whatever bloodbath, dance club, whatever you want to call it.
The most idiotic, stupid person who ever lived, seeing bodies in bags being moved around and still following her into the slaughterhouse.
I mean, Tracy Lords was hot, but yeah, come on now. So yeah, I mean, it's a vampire movie, and that's why I think it ultimately connected with the greater audience. This movie is very special to me. I can still remember I worked at Country Kitchen, and me and some other comic book geeks were in the back talking, hey, did you hear they're going to do a Blade movie? Oh man, are they actually going to do good? This was my very first DVD. Like I paid $1,500 for my DVD player, and the first DVD I bought was Blade, which was cool because DVDs, unlike Blu-rays, have these cool extras. And I remember they had these extras that described all the different vampire glyphs and factions, which they just kind of did away with in the sequels, but whatever. It went through every of the vampire clans, and these are based on magic, and these are based on being wolves and stuff like that. So very, very special to me for a lot of reasons. Obviously saw it in theater, again, first DVD. And it was just kick ass, man. Like I still watch it pretty regularly.
And it had the plastic snap case, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'm just reminiscing a time before Wesley Snipes, became enthralled in some tax evasion. Not sure. Hope we cleared that up.
Well, when he was filming Blade Trinity, he was sneaking into the country to film his scenes. That's why he's not in it that much. Fun fact for you for a couple of weeks from now when we do Blade Trinity.
There are a lot of stories about him. What's the guy's name who was on in Blade Trinity, the comedian who was also in MST Keith and a few others. I forget it. Koppel. I forget what his name is. There are stories that he was on a show. He was telling about how they were passing notes around on Post-its. Like he would sign them Blade because he was Blade. He told everybody he had to be called Blade, and he would pass notes to the director on Post-its. He wouldn't talk to him.
I really wish that he would have acted like Blade in that movie.
He was bombed out of his skull that entire movie.
All right. But we're not talking about that one yet. All right.
Patton Oswalt. That's it. Patton Oswalt was.
Okay. So let's see. What else can we talk about? Oh, so let's talk about also some of the interesting things this movie brought us, like Whistler. So Whistler was not a character from the comics. He was actually originally introduced in the Spider-Man animated series in '95. They liked the character so much they used him in this movie, and then he was brought into the comics.
Yeah.
Nice using Chris Christopherson to bring that character alive. That kind of worked. That worked really good.
Yeah. Which, I mean, am I wrong? Is he the first man in the chair for a comic book character in live action?
In live action?
I mean, I guess you could say Alfred was for Batman, but
yeah, and I don't know if Whistler's more of a man in the chair more than he's the man that kind of gives him the arms.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the same thing.
He's the armorer.
He's more of the armorer, right, than a man in a chair, because
true.
He wasn't.
Well, he's a lot more active in the second one, but he does have a couple of scenes in this one, especially when they break into the garage, to the hideout, and then they end up torturing him to death. But he did, try to defend her, the girl.
True, and then he does save them when they're in the archives.
In the train station. Yeah.
Yep.
So he's not exactly a man in a chair, but the armor, I could see that.
Okay.
And I'm glad they gave him a backstory too, because they didn't really go too much into it in the animated series, but they really kind of fleshed it out here with his kids and his wife getting turned and all that shit. They did very sympathetic character.
Yeah, ahead, John. No, you're absolutely right. That the one thing is, think about what you just said. His kids, both his daughters were turned. Well, in Blade 3, isn't that Whistler's daughter?
Yes.
No, they say in that he found her later. So that wasn't, he had like a legitimate child.
A quick retcon then. Okay.
Of course. You got to get Jessica Biel in there somehow.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, right?
She was popular. That was when she got kicked off Seventh Heaven because she was doing risque things and they didn't want her on that show anymore.
Right.
So they picked her for this.
Before Paris Hilton made that fashionable.
Yeah, but that was I thought a cool thing. One of the things too, I've heard a couple times, and I don't know how true this is, and I don't know if anyone here has any way to back this up, that originally they wanted Dracula to be the protagonist in this, but for some reason they couldn't do it. Like they couldn't get the rights for the Marvel version for some reason.
Okay.
So
they dodged a bullet because look what happened when they did bring him on.
So then they got Deacon Frost to be the main villain in this movie. What do we think of Deacon Frost in this movie?
Completely offset from the character that he was in the comics. I mean, it's not even the same character, but I like this Stephen Dorff character a lot more than the comic Stephen Dorff. So if they ever brought back Deacon Frost, I would hope that it would be more like the movie version.
Huh. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that before, but that's.
I liked Stephen Dorff as Deacon Frost. I thought he was just an arrogant little pompous little bitch, but he made good on his word and he got all the power, even though he fucked it up in the end. But I mean, he's a man of his word. Everything that he said that he was going to do in that movie, he did.
Makes you wonder.
That is true.
Makes you wonder how he's bossing around all of the pureblood vampires, right? Like, weren't the pureblood vampires supposed to be stronger, and yet they acted like a bunch of chickens?
Right. That's what I never got. There was a whole council of pure blood, heads of all the clans, and other than yell at him a little bit, they didn't do anything, and he ends up murdering them. Like, I didn't quite get that.
And that was one of the best scenes in the entire movie, when he takes them up to the daylight, and they're all in their biker gear and stuff like that. That's a great scene, man. The lighting and just the effects, and I just love it, man. It's timeless, man.
Yeah,
love it.
Amazing that they had SPF 3000. Too.
Tinted visors, man.
Yeah,
leather. Sun can't penetrate.
No, I know what John's talking about. We'll get to that in a minute. But here's a question. I've always wondered: did they pick Stephen Dorff to play Frost because he kind of looks like Kiefer Sutherland, especially in that movie?
I never thought about that. I thought they just picked him because he's just like a '90s dude. But
Kiefer Sutherland had a mullet in Lost Boys. What are we talking about here?
But in the face, though, I get what he's saying. In the face, he does.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
He's got that
light makeup
thing going.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was angrier Lost Boys with a higher budget.
And you got to remember, this is what, 15 years later?
Yeah.
12 or 13.
Yeah.
Because Lost Boys was 85.
80. Yeah. Okay. This was 98. So 13 years.
13 years later. Yeah.
The woman in this movie, I mean, so kind of seems like she's forgettable. We haven't talked about her at all yet. I don't even see her name.
Nabushi
as
Wright.
far as the actors.
Nabushi Wright.
She is only in the movie to humanize Blade, to make you so he's not full vampire fury. So you got this one that reminds him of his mother. You got a younger black woman, bushy black hair, it looks just like his mom. So it's gonna make him feel a certain way. That's why I think that's why he saved her in the first place, right? Because he had a flashback to his mom.
Yeah.
So,
he had a flashbacks to his birth because we all have those.
Yeah, because we remember that.
Right. See, we did get an origin.
Yeah. No, yeah. But
you did.
But you're right. Like, because she doesn't. Obviously, she's not a love interest. Which is weird because your typical '90s action movie,
right?
The female lead will become the love interest.
But she did provide the weapon that saved the day at the end.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she figured out the blood expander, whatever you want to call it, the blue liquid.
Yeah, the hemoglobin anticoagulating.
Yeah, the anticoagulant that had an energetic
reaction
to
vampire blood.
Vampire blood. Yep.
Yes, because they notice they don't ever explain how vampirism works. They just call it a disease or a virus. But
I didn't like when their heads blew up, though. I thought that was a little cringy. Because, but it's 1998. I get it. Yeah. But when they blow up and all that blood, he's walking away and all that blood's just going like side to side on the camera is a masterful shot. I absolutely love that shot.
And we've got the Buffy the Vampire Slayer type vampires where, it's really nice that they clean up after themselves and just, dust when you kill them. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's how they got away with a lot of the kills that they did get away with.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the blood and guts it all over the place.
It's also like a very convenient plot device in the fact that like he can go into a place and kill 100 vampires and there's no bodies to have to explain.
Exactly.
The only reason they had a body is because he burned the one at the beginning of the movie that ends up not killing the vampire. And that's Triple H, right?
No, that's the third one. No, this is
no. That's right. Triple H is in the third one.
He burns up Pearl with the ultraviolet light. That big.
No. We're talking about the henchman that was getting the blow.
Donald Logue Quinn.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
He lost his
that
fucking.
Guy was he has been in so many things over the years. Wow, he's such a good character actor.
How much plot armor did that guy have that Blade just did not dust him? In the first scene, like he just gave you can go ahead and he causes another problem. And
he thought he did kill him though. He was black and crispy. I mean, he did kind of pop. I didn't.
Well, if he thought that he killed him, if he thought that he killed him, he wouldn't have went to the hospital to finish him off.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And Blade, and if you notice, Blade has a thing in the first, at least in the first and the second one, where he toys with a vampire. Because remember the vampire in part 2, the fat guy, the bald guy with the long hair. And then he catches up to him. He lets him go in the beginning, and then he catches up to him at the end of the movie, and then he finally dusts him. Yeah, but so he kind of like toys with his. He's a big cat.
Let's be honest here. The most '90s action scene is when he kills him at the end of the movie. He cuts off his head and then catches his sunglasses.
Yeah, and then the techno music starts, and then you know that he's gotten serious.
And now it's game on because he puts his sunglasses back on and he's ready to kick vampire butt.
In anime, that's when you go to your second form. What?
Somebody cue Sandstorm.
Yep.
So you just said it, John. That's my question. Is it me, or was the director heavily influenced by anime with some of these fight sequences, especially at the end?
I don't know. Yeah.
He had
it was very Americanized.
Yeah.
It was, but I mean, remember when he goes into that club before he finds Pearl and they've got the Japanese schoolgirls rapping, which is actually kind of a beat I YouTube Japanese schoolgirl rap, and there it is. Like, I don't know.
You gotta be really careful how you spell some things, man. You gotta be real careful.
I understand. I've made mistakes before. I've had to explain to my wife some things.
Oh my God. One wrong letter. Anyway,
again, 90s. And the other thing about those fight scenes is like, yes, the henchmen were very well trained. They only attacked one at a time.
Right.
Well, yeah, but that's all those movies.
They respect the way of the samurai.
Very honorable. Yes.
Yes. There's definitely a lot of
Bushido.
There's a lot of samurai type themes in this movie too, I think.
Mhm.
Sure.
But yeah, like I don't know, I just kind of felt that way, especially in the final fight. The sped up stuff, the like he would chop someone and then turn around and look at, he's standing there holding the sword, looking at the camera, and the people are dying behind him or turning into dust behind him.
And the trench coat twirls, I mean, are just fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, not as good as Book of Boba Fett.
Hey,
Fair
What?
enough.
love that show.
What? There were trench coat twirls in Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, well,
No,
there
it
was
wasn't a
spin
trench
with
coat.
a coat.
It was the guy that
He
was
was
holding
wearing
a
a
black
jacket.
chrysanthemum, and then
Uh,
they got attacked, and he did his little twirl, and
But he had a jacket.
yes, he did. Yes, he did. I totally
he
forgot about that.
channeling, He was channeling his inner blade. It's exactly what it was.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes. Okay, and then let's also talk about Sunblock 3000. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. They take the one vampire to the beach, and they all have motorcycle gear and motorcycle helmets on for the sunrise. But then 2 scenes later, he's out confronting, like a scene that also just felt like it was edited in, like out of nowhere. Him and Blade are having that conversation in the park during the daylight, and he's just standing there because he's wearing sunblock. Like, it doesn't.
You know what else doesn't make sense is that your eyeballs are organic and they get hit with UV rays, same as the rest of your
I
body.
thought the same thing.
Did he put sunblock on his eyeballs?
No, he didn't. He couldn't have, right?
I thought the same thing.
Like, why wasn't he wearing them? Like, why didn't they have him in the motorcycle gear for that scene? Like, it would have just. I would have been fine with that.
Did he scrub it into his scalp, like every microfiber?
Yeah.
Right, or at least have sunglasses on.
And not to mention the fact that, you've got a guy who looks like he's armed to the teeth and dangerous and ready to kill. You got another guy who's holding a little girl up by her neck, and people are just walking around in the background. Oh,
well,
nice
that's
day.
yeah.
It's like
Such a '90s thing.
Yeah,
or
it's the 90s. You can get away with it.
Or a New York City thing. I mean,
Yeah.
people just walk by crimes going on all the time.
Yeah, Elmo attacking Katniss on 42nd Street, and it's like
I know. I've seen Jason Takes Manhattan. I know how New York really is.
Oh my God!
God, that movie. He was only in Manhattan for like 5 minutes of that movie.
They really went out of their way in that movie to make New York just seem like a complete shithole. Heroin addicts, toxic waste in the streets. Oh my God, so outrageous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yep. So yeah. I mean, but like I will say, other than a couple little nitpicky things like that scene, I think it's still well done vampire superhero movie. Like you can't really fault it.
To me, the most egregious plot contrivance is his mother being alive still. And
that does feel forced.
His girlfriend,
yeah.
It's like, oh,
you gotta bring him down somehow. And his mother would have been the ultimate thing to, make him take his attention away for 1 second, and then they get to jump on him because we need that climatic third scene, man. We need that final scene.
True.
Yeah, but there was a time where it looked like Tracy Lords had taken over writing the script because the mother was acting not like quite a mother in one of those scenes there.
Not at all.
And
but she says she's not the same person anymore. She became a vampire and enjoyed it.
So screw genetics, right? No, but yeah, I mean,
How would she know? She didn't even raise Blade. She had the baby.
Yeah, but all
she never knew Blade. So who cares?
True, but all she did provide was like 1 second of distraction, so they could come up behind him with the tasers. That was it. Otherwise, she contributed nothing to this.
Yeah,
And how does Blade remember things as a baby?
It's just one of his superpowers,
like being
man.
born. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone remembers being born. I could be wrong. And
I don't want to remember coming out of my mother.
Not unless you're Moira McTaggart.
I am going to
X-Men deep cut.
I will put that out to the audience. If anyone actually has memories of their birth, let us know in the comments down below. All right.
And be sure to comment so I can block you because I don't want to hear about that experience.
Right, because you were obviously disturbed. If you can remember, nothing good will come from interaction with you. So please self-identify yourself.
Oh my
so we can just nip it in the bud.
Wow.
To nip it in the bud.
Oh my God.
That coming from a guy with a blade sword and a trench coat.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you're judging people. Think about that for a second.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yes. All right. So, and then, okay, I will ask one other question. Plot wise here, the doctor comes up with a cure for herself, and then tells Whistler that she doesn't believe it'll work on Blade because he was born a vampire. It would only work on someone who was infected. Then at the end of the movie,
right,
she says she can cure him, but it would take away all his powers. And then he's like, he goes, "Oh, well, keep your cure. There's still a war to fight." Like, but they never established that it could cure him. Like, it felt, again, one of those weird things. It kind of felt forced. And it's like, I get why they did it, but it's like they should have established at some point that it actually could cure him, but they never did.
No. Why would he want to be cured?
No, I'm not saying he wanted to be cured. I'm saying it was odd that, like, it felt like
She said that with more time and research or whatever, that she could cure him, right?
Yeah, but then they made it seem like she had the cure at the end.
Yeah.
I can look past it. It's very, very minor.
I mean, it was their first. It was their first go at a series.
They didn't have plans. They didn't have plans on a sequel.
No, I don't think they did.
They left it pretty closed off. It's not like the Matrix where he flies off and then they go to fight the war and all that crazy crap that happened in those movies. But
other than what would nowadays probably be a post-credit scene, with him showing up in Moscow. But they used to do those tags at the end of a movie in the 80s and 90s where they show him continuing on as the superhero. And this time is in Moscow at a vampire safe house. So
yeah, looking for Whistler.
Right.
Or did he just move on? No, wait. Because in the second one, they kind of retconned that and said that he was looking for Whistler the whole time. Right.
Yes.
But in this one, it's like he just went to Russia. Like that was the next stop.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just to show him.
They had no plans on this at all.
Right. Right. Just the idea was he was still out there hunting vampires. That was it. But yeah, then they got a sequel, and then they got a second sequel. That maybe.
But why Blade of all characters though? Maybe it was the cheapest to produce. Wesley Snipes might have had. I know Wesley Snipes loved. Wesley Snipes absolutely loved the character growing up. He read all the comics growing up, so he had an affinity for the character.
So I think
get that
when you look at the history of Marvel movies, like anyone who knows the history of the Spider-Man franchise movie-wise, like that was in rights hell for a long time. Like they wanted to make a Spider-Man movie around the same time Batman '89 came out, but like it was bought and sold to a bunch of different companies over the years until it ended up at Sony. And I think that everyone thought X-Men was too ambitious, special effects wise. So I think Blade was low budget. It's not a character anyone like would have been upset if they got wrong on the big screen. And finally, it was like you guys said it was vampire hysteria at that time, right? You had what was it? The Vampire Diaries, or not Vampire Diaries?
Interview with the Vampire.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Dracula.
Right.
Was that that was before True Blood and all that stuff, right?
Like, that's way before. Right. And then that launched True Blood and that stuff on HBO and whatnot, and
Underworld came later.
Yeah, Underworld.
Dracula 2000 and its shitty sequels. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
At one, I'm reading some notes that I found here. At one point, the studio asked if Blade could be white.
This isn't 2022. That wasn't 20. That's 1998. That's not 2022.
Yeah, I know, right? No,
Right.
It's like it was new. It was New Line. They wanted to do something almost as a spoof before the writer convinced them otherwise.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true because Robert Shea didn't really have a lot of faith in black actors.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
like you could never get away with that today. If someone said that today, they would probably just be fired.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow.
But
that's weird.
Well, yeah, but
I mean, Wesley Snipes was hot at the time, so like, I don't know, like why you wouldn't want him in a movie? It would be ridiculous,
right? We still have a problem these days with not casting ethnic roles with people of that ethnicity, though, right? Like we still have the whitewashing issue.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's not.
You should hear the uproar for Idris Elba as James Bond. It's crazy how many people would hate the idea of it. It's crazy.
Even though he'd be probably freaking awesome.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, but I mean that's a different story. I mean John's right, and I don't think it's his it's funny. I don't think it's as bad as it used to be, but I think when it does happen now, it becomes more obvious, right? Because we've gotten better at it. Where like obviously Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell is probably the most egregious example of that in recent history. But yeah.
They're an Egyptian movie recently. Or I don't know. I don't recently anymore.
Yeah, it was
but-
The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no. Original Mummy. Sorry, Brendan Fraser is my hero.
No, are you talking about the?
There was another one, Gods of Egypt or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Gods of
Yeah.
Egypt. Yeah, no, that's a fun romp. That's not really a mummy movie or anything. It's just it's Gods of Egypt is just a fun movie to have on in the background, or it's a good for.
What was the movie that? Wait, what was the movie that Gal Gadot just got cast in and people were complaining about?
Cleopatra.
Right.
Am I thinking Cleopatra? Yeah,
Was it
no, I mean, it's pretty
But-
crazy that we're still dealing with that. Like, we're still dealing with, like, all the old Bible movies that had, Middle Eastern people in it, but they're just as white as
But
you
she
and
is
me.
she is Israeli. Like
She is Israeli, yes. So she is of Middle Eastern.
She is from that region, so it's like weird to say. Like,
Yeah, I
no-
think there's a little hypersensitivity to it. I mean, I totally get it. If you're going to have a movie set in Egypt, have some, let's get the ethnicity right. But yeah, that's she could pass for. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just going to shut up because I know we're big in. I know Superhero Speak here is big in Qatar.
Oh
so I
yeah,
don't want-
huge in Qatar.
I don't want to. And I know Middle Easterns don't exactly like Israelis, so I don't want to. Sorry, I'm already too deep.
You're gonna get us. You're gonna get us banned in Qatar, man.
Yeah.
I get the one that's good for your back because you're doing a lot of digging.
Right.
It's like-
Just continually.
All right. Let's get back to Blade. All right. So, thank God, Wesley Snipes was the star, and yeah.
Was there any other choice at the time?
There was a choice. Lawrence Fishburne.
Michael John White? These are real? Okay.
Denzel Washington and Lawrence Fishburne were floated.
Get the fuck.
Right.
Yeah,
and
what?
But the reason why that's asinine though is because like Wesley Snipes at this point in his career was like an actual martial artist, like an actual like top tier martial artist. Like I remember back then my list was Jet Li, Steven Seagal, and then third place was Wesley Snipes. Obviously, before we start to learn that Steven Seagal is just crazy, and yeah, he's one of those people.
I've seen I've seen a lot of his modern videos, and they are hilarious.
So
Little
they are.
demonstrations.
In a very sad way, but yeah.
And what I'll say for like Lawrence Fishburne or Denzel Washington, like and at least until The Matrix, I don't think I've ever thought of Lawrence Fishburne as an action star at all.
Action guy, no, not at all. I mean, could you see early? Like, okay, think about this: if Lawrence Fishburne would have been Blade, and it might have bombed, it might not have. Who knows? But would he have gotten that role in The Matrix and changed Hollywood forever? Little butterfly effect.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then the other aspect is like,
could have been more
again, no offense to Wesley Snipes, but like he was an action star, and it's a lot of one-liners. Like, think about it. He doesn't have a lot of dialogue in the movie. It's more about the action aspect of it, where actors like Lawrence Fishburne and Denzel Washington, you think of them as acting. I mean, what was the one of the biggest movies in the 90s for Denzel Washington was Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? Now put that guy in Blade, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, the writer David S. Goyer, he's the one who pushed it for Snipes, and that sounds like it was like a Princess Bride thing, where the guy who wrote Princess Bride was always had Andre the Giant in mind when he wrote that part. This might have been David S. Goyer saying, "Yeah, I just saw Snipes in a movie. I'm going to put him in this."
It was probably Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Well, you got to think about it like this too. Is Blade, if it didn't succeed, right? Okay, so let me take that back. So you bring in Wesley Snipes, right? That's a big name. It's gonna make your money back, so it won't fail. Even if people don't know who Blade is, they're not comic guys. That they're not like us, but they're still gonna go see it because it's Wesley Snipes. So it's still gonna make that money back, and you're capturing vampire mania right now. Perfect setup, perfect actor. Perfect time, perfect place for Blade. I think if they would have released Blade in the X-Men 2000 era, I think it would have failed.
Yeah, I mean, during that time, we were big on the monochromatic wardrobe.
Because in the 90s, we had balls, man. Once we crossed that millennium threshold, we shrunk down.
True, PG meant PG back then, and PG-13 meant R back then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It would have been a different. I think it would have been a different movie just coming out 5-6 years later. I honestly do.
Okay, imagine if New Line wouldn't have gotten a hold of this movie.
Oh, true.
Right?
New Line's
and they're known for their R features. Like that's their thing.
Right.
Horror and everything was their gig. So imagine Fox or whoever getting the rights to Blade. Can you imagine how watered down and just tainted it would be?
It would have definitely had a lighter tone, right? And it would not have been taken seriously by the comic book crowd or the vampire crowd.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, all right. Now that you just said something, I have to check something, or maybe one of you guys know who owns New Line currently.
Oh God, the music hasn't stopped on that one yet. Like, you know, geez, the sheer number of
New Line went bankrupt with what was that movie called? The Golden Compass. They put so much. They wanted it to be the next Lord of the Rings. They invested so much money into it and sunk the company.
Oh, they were horrible. That was horrible.
Yeah,
Warner has them now.
Warner, okay.
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
Makes sense.
Yep, Warner Media.
Interesting.
There you go.
Interesting. No, because
Warner Brothers owns Freddy and Jason now. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is weird, but
coming next season on the Animaniacs.
Okay,
Right?
For some reason I thought Disney owned New Line at this point, but because Disney owns everything, so that's even more
Warner
interesting.
Media Company.
That's even more interesting because, like, if the rights had never reverted back to Marvel, Warner Brothers would own Blade right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's a weird thought.
But they didn't touch the character after Blade 3. They were like, we're done.
Yeah, thank God. Because could you imagine
a TV show, which was actually decent?
Can you imagine that legal battle to get
With
Blade back from
Fingers? Sticky Fingers is Blade on the Blade TV show.
Yeah. He's a rapper.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I know. He was in Onyx. I know who he is.
I don't think I ever saw the show.
I never saw
It's on Tubi right now currently.
Okay.
At least it was. I'm not sure now.
I'll
but
have to-
the last time I checked, it was. Yeah, it's a whole one season. The
I will
first
look
episode's
on
like-
Tubi.
the
Only one
first
season?
Episode,
Yeah.
one season. And the first episode is the length of a movie. So enjoy that.
I remember when right before the show premiered, being at the comic book convention in Philadelphia, Wizard World in Philadelphia, and like they had this huge booth and display set up promoting the show. They were giving out bags that said Blade people. They had like dancers and stuff. It was just like all this crazy promotion for it, and then it lasted one season and it was gone. It was like, no one's watching it. But I think it was on one of those off channels, wasn't it? When it came out?
I didn't want to say it was on USA.
No, I don't think it was USA. I think it was like it was that one of those channels that was like geared towards
Spike
guys.
or some shit?
Spike.
I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Spike. So
That makes sense.
yes.
Like TV.
So in an alternate universe, Blade became part of the DCEU. So yes or no? Is this the movie is this the grandfather of the MCU?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It
what-
is.
there's nothing else to point to.
I mean, again, you could find people who would
Nick
say,
Fury.
okay, it was a vampire movie,
Nick Fury.
but
That movie never made it to the theaters.
Doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
Neither did Fantastic Four.
Yep.
The
Rod-
Corman one,
the
which I
Corman one.
love. By the way, I love the Corman Fantastic Four.
But Nick Fury at least made it to VCR back then.
It was a made-for-TV movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
It made it
the
to home
Fantastic
video.
Four never made it anywhere.
No, it was never released.
You
can
can-
watch the full thing on YouTube.
I'm about to say you can find it. You can watch it.
Sorry, Don. We went way off of your point. What was your
yeah,
point?
no, that's okay. Well, no, I definitely think it is. I mean, it was credited as based off of a Marvel character. I think that it just had the luck, or at least good marketing, of being a comic / vampire movie that was successful. So I think that, people saw, hey, it's a comic book movie. It was taken seriously. It was successful. So maybe we can do this.
Right, exactly. And I think, in all honesty, like without knowing they were doing it, they were kind of following the Marvel formula in the sense of like it's a comic book movie, but it doesn't feel like a traditional superhero movie, right? Like if people who'd never heard of the comic watched this movie, they'd have no idea. They would just say it's a vampire movie, right? Where like the idea of
was that a benefit? Like
I think it was.
Knowing. I think if you would have went into a movie going, oh, that's based on the Marvel comic character. Oh, I don't like comic books. I'm not a nerd. This is back in the 90s. This isn't before we took over the world.
Right.
True.
I'm saying, so back then it's like separate it. Don't mention that it's part of a comic.
Well, it had already started to shift because of the Batman movie, right? Like Batman and the Batman movie had already happened.
Yeah.
The Batman and Robin had just happened, right? Like
yes.
So I mean, that was already in the social consciousness. It just I think it got soured a bit, but it wasn't like it was an alien idea that a comic movie couldn't be good because Batman and Batman Forever happened. So
right.
you know.
Yeah,
well, you got Batman Forever. You also got the Phantom. And remember that, Jim? That's not turning anyone on to superhero movies.
That was not happening. Yeah.
They also made the Shadow. Oh God.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really smart marketing to separate church and state. Honestly, like it brought in a whole different fan base. If you were a comic geek, you were still coming. If you were just an action junkie, a horror junkie, because it had horror elements in it, very small, very subtle, but it was there. I mean, it brought in a little bit of everything for everybody, and it was shot really well. The dialogue wasn't the cringiest thing I've ever heard. It's not the best by any means, but I mean, it's perfect for what it is. It is like you guys said in the beginning. It's as 90s as 90s gets.
Right.
And I can appreciate that.
But like even where it goes wrong though, it's right. Like you remember that scene where Blade like shoots that person and he's like,
yeah, God.
How did that work? But yet I enjoyed it. I was laughing.
Yes, I will say that's one of the only scenes. That's the only things that Wesley Snipes does in the movie where it's like, huh? Okay.
Well, I mean, you got to show that he's enjoying what he.
Yeah, I guess so. The only thing I would say, like special effects wise, too, the scene where he cuts Frost in half and then the blood is floating around and brings them back together. I would love. Yeah, it looks like jelly. I would love to see modern day special effects artists take that and clean it up and make it look more realistic for today. You know.
Oh, God's what they could do with that today. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
They could actually make a cool looking blood god.
Well, yeah, that's true too. They could have done more than just have him put red contacts in and have blood on his face.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of smart of them to kind of do a generic blood god. You know, something that we don't know. It's not based around any comics or anything like that. They really did I'm realizing it now. They really did a good job of separating the action from the comics.
Yeah. Well, and they were also smart because, the original blood god, the blood blob, like they were smart enough to be like, okay, this isn't going to work. Let's keep it simple, stupid, and let's go with a Stephen Dorff versus Wesley Snipes kung fu action. Like that's pretty smart of them because obviously they were trying to flex their muscle CGI wise, but they were smart to be like, okay, this too much. This just isn't working.
Right.
So kudos to them.
Yeah, they got
maybe. Oh, sorry. Maybe they didn't want to license another character like Morbius or something like that. Maybe it would have cost too much. I don't know what their budget was back then.
Yeah, I don't know. And I was thinking, well, maybe you can't because you can't make an action figure out of a blood god. But I don't know. I don't think they ever made Blade action figures. If they did, I've never seen one.
Could you sell an action figure named Blood God in Toys R Us? I mean, like, so it's like Transformers. Okay, there's Optimus Prime. That Blood God. I don't think I'm getting that for you.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. The budget was $45 million, but like, how much went to Snipes, and how much went to the special?
I would say about 18 to 20 went to Snipes.
Right, and then how much actually went to the special effects budget?
Plus Stephen Dorff was like a name at the time, so you're paying for him.
Yeah.
Well, and again, the special effects they're fooling around with CGI. It's brand new.
Yeah,
right. At that point, there's like two guys in a studio on a computer doing this. Where today it's a team of artists working on it. Yeah.
Yeah. They did those graphics on like the 480DX with the math coprocessor. Like, it's full 16-bit, man.
An old Mac what was the
Apple IIgs or Mac 2C or Mac 2E? Yeah.
What were the ones that look? What were the ones that look like eggs shells?
Oh my god! Yeah.
Oh, with the different colors.
EMAC.
Shit.
Was it EMAC or was that the original iMac?
iMac.
Yeah, the original iMac. Yes, they were doing it on old iMacs.
But the blood thing, it may look like jelly, but it still looks better than most CGI in like horror movies these days when they use CGI blood. Like you can totally tell that it's CGI blood. This was a blood god, so it had to have some kind of physical form to it. It can't just be blood spray.
The original ending, that was the blood god. He was just a fountain of blood, and the actor would pop out of it in different ways. But then they did a test audience, and the audience was like, "What the hell is why are my eyeballs burning?" And so they dropped that real quick.
No, I mean, and it does make sense. Like he used a sword through the whole movie, so have a sword fight at the end, like it works.
Yeah, it's not bad at the end. It's just
I will say this: you don't ever get the feeling that he's totally outmatched, though. Like so,
until he sees his mom and he gets all boo-hoo and then gets jumped.
Exactly.
That's the only time in the entire movie where he is not a badass. But as soon as he gets the feeding on her, and he just does that roar, it's on. As soon as he yells "Frost" at the top of his lungs, it's on. But cue the techno.
Yeah, and again, like if he hadn't Deus Machina'd the blood pathologist, then the end would have been a lot different, right? Like without that coagulant serum, he wouldn't have won that fight. So
absolutely.
All right. Well, unless anyone has something else they want to talk about or add, I think
more like a question.
Okay.
More like so we're looking at it like, let's see, 1998. However many years later. I don't feel like doing that. It's late. So does it still hold up X amount of years later? Do you guys think that it holds up compared to what we have today?
I think if you take it as a product of the time and you like 90s action movies, it holds up in that regards. I think if it was made today within the MCU, it would be a very different movie. But yeah, like I could watch it again. Like in my respect, yeah, it holds up.
I think it kind of has like that Deadpool vibe. Like it's part of Marvel, but it's not part of Marvel.
Right.
I think that's where Blade falls in. Yeah.
Except that now they're bringing Blade into the MCU at the end of Eternals.
That's true.
But that's exactly why I guess I find myself not being super excited for it, because I do like Blade outside of the MCU, because as badass as Blade is, he ain't nothing when you put him up, have him standed by Thor or Iron Man or it's just, he is more of a street level hero to me, which I can't appreciate because I actually watched through the Daredevil series. I was like, okay, that's cool, street level.
He's still better than Hawkeye, though.
Yeah.
At least he's got a healing factor and
oh
some
man, poor Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's a badass hero click. Anyway, so I like him outside of the MCU. So we'll have I don't know. I'm really nervous to see what he's like in the MCU because I don't know. He can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Just to give a little bit of context here around like when we're doing our final thoughts on this movie. 1997, Batman and Robin came out. Justice League of America on TV. Men in Black, Spawn, Star Kid, Steel, and Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. And then 1998, Batman Sub-Zero, which is probably one, besides Mask of the Phantasm, one of the most underrated animated Batman movies of all time. And then Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. also came out in 1998 with Blade. So like there wasn't a whole...
Wait a minute. That was 98?
Yep. On TV. Oh, on TV. Maybe not that might not have been the movie.
I was gonna say Nick Fury came out in like 94 or 5, didn't it?
Man, now to the internets.
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., 1998. I don't have it here on my list.
I remember watching that on freaking Fox on regular TV before Mortal Kombat not Annihilation.
Well,
What was that? Conquest.
That is the David
that the
Hasselhoff movie.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., 19. Yeah, same year.
I thought that was much earlier too. Oh my god!
But it came. Well, that's because the writing was so bad.
Well, and it starred the Hoff. I mean, come on.
Pre-drunk David Hasselhoff on the floor eating a sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, don't hassle the Hoff.
So I have another question. Do we get Wesley Snipes' Blade in the Multiverse of Madness? Would you want to see it?
Is he even cognizant now? I mean, he's been through a lot, man.
Well, he was.
Now.
Yeah, he was just in
Coming to America too.
Yeah.
So
and everyone loves his performance in that movie. Like, yeah.
If we're gonna get a Patrick Stewart Professor X and then fucking up the Illuminati, we might as well get a Wesley Snipes Blade.
I wouldn't mind that. You know, I like continuity like that.
It's an opportunity to like throw everything, even the kitchen sink, and like it doesn't even have to be a long cameo. They can just go through a universe and see Wesley Snipes running by in the Blade costume. That's it. That's all you need.
Give me his one line. Give me his most memorable line from the movie we're talking about today. Just let me hear. Some motherfuckers always got to ice skate uphill.
Get uphill. Yep.
Drop the mic. Be done.
Yeah.
It'll be
Motherfucker,
awesome.
are you out your mind?
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, where the guy shoots him in the back.
that
at
was
the beginning of the
brilliant.
movie.
That
was so funny.
Though in an MCU movie, he would just say, "Some people always got to ice skate uphill."
Yeah. Well, don't they get one fuck a movie or no?
Yes, you can get one fuck in a PG-13.
That's how Wolverine's epic cameo in First Class happened.
Yeah.
God, I love that scene.
You know, I'm glad Disney's running the MCU, but that's my one bone to pick is they really got to do rated R movies. Like Deadpool 3's got to.
They are. They said it's going to be R. They said Deadpool 3 is going to be R.
Straight to Hulu.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it'll come out in the theaters first. Come on.
Of course.
And then go to Hulu.
I just want to see
I love those movies.
When Deadpool starts, I just want to see the Cinderella castle come up and then Tinkerbell go over. Da 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 da.
Oh wait. Yeah, but what they have to do is like redo it where like Tinkerbell flips off the audience.
I'd pay it. That'd be worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah, or pukes on the castle. One or the other.
Oh, but we didn't talk about one thing, is that Blade was also in a non-Marvel property. He was Wesley in What We Do in the Shadows, but he was Blade because he was at the Vampire Council. Did you ever see it?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you say Wesley Snipes played this character?
Yeah. It was Wesley Snipes as Wesley Snipes, but he was.
I have to watch that show. Okay, I've got to watch it because we got Mark Hamill making cameos on it. And now Wesley Snipes is okay. I got to. All right.
I've never seen it either.
It seems funny. I really need to sit down and watch it.
It's I forget the name of the title of the episode, but it's season 2, and they gather up like the big vampire council, and it's like all the famous vampires, and Wesley Snipes is there. Well, he's on the screen, but yeah, he makes a cameo as Blade.
I gotta start using my daughter's Hulu account. I mean, I gotta get my own Hulu account and start watching some of this stuff. All right. Let's
you don't get the Disney Plus Hulu bundle?
That's what I got. What I got. My Verizon pays for all that.
I use my daughter's Disney Plus. She uses my Netflix. So,
Oh, absolutely. I got my parents' Netflix. I got somebody's Amazon. Absolutely.
It all balances out in the end. And she uses my HBO Max. So all right.
But who's using the Peacock?
No one, because it sucks.
No one?
All right.
I might have to because of this Bel Air show that my wife is now.
They kept showing ads for that while I was watching this movie too. So I don't know. I saw because I hadn't seen anything from it, and I saw the ad, and I'm like, this feels like it's not
a remake of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Is it? It feels more like it's a biop on Will Smith, but
kind of both.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an interest. I'm sorry. Like, does that make me a bad person?
Not at all.
Okay.
You're not missing anything. It's not our demographic.
All right. Well, let's wrap this one up because I think I'm getting tired.
Yep. I think we beat this. I think we beat this into the ground.
Yes.
I think beat anything into the ground. We love this.
We have to savor this because we'll be doing something else soon that we don't want to.
I think we're all saying the same thing. If you've never seen this movie, and especially if you love the MCU, go watch it. You can watch it for free right now on Peacock. You can rent it on Amazon Prime, and go check it out because it's a good movie and it does hold up. If you love Wesley Snipes, if you love 90s action movies, or if you love Marvel movies, just go watch it. All right. So anyone here got any recommendations for our audience out there? Ray, recommendations, final plug for Gorilla Brain Podcast?
Yeah, you can catch the Gorilla Brain Podcast on any podcasting app that's out there, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, it's out there. You can also catch me on Twitter at Gorilla Brain Pod, on Instagram at Gorilla Brain Podcast. My recommendation would be go watch me on Twitch every night. But for a media, I would say I have been enthralled and reliving my childhood glory playing the Neo Geo Samurai Showdown collection.
Oh my gosh.
It's all it's Samurai Showdown 1 through 5, and then they have 5 special and then 5 perfect, which they redid and rebalanced the entire part 5 for modern gaming. So I've been going back and playing all the old Samurai Showdowns, and I've been having a blast, and I'm just giggly. I love it. It's my second favorite fighting game franchise ever. The first being King of Fighters. I love King of Fighters. And they just dropped a new King of Fighters, so I would recommend that too. But playing the Samurai Showdown games brings back a lot of good memories. So I would say, suck it up, Buttercup. Go out and get you that Neo Geo collection of Samurai Showdown and have yourself a ball.
And a giggly Ray is a happy Ray. All right, Don. I said Don, not John.
Oh, Don. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm tired and I'm just hearing things now. Okay, sorry, Don. Go for it.
John just got back from bingo.
Oh man,
he's got a couple episodes of My Little Pony to run through. 4th gen, of course.
Yeah, let me take off my tweed jacket and hang it back up. Okay, next to my cane. Go ahead, my child beating cane, of course. Go ahead.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Recommendations. Well, if you haven't seen Blade, watch that. Watch Blade 2. That's also a very, very good movie, in my opinion. It doesn't drop off the cliff till Blade 3, so check that out. That's really about it. Like I said, I've been on a Star Wars kick with my son, watching them out of order, which drives me insane, but happy that boy's getting into it. So check that out. And Ray, wasn't you on Twitter who said you take out the last 5 minutes of Rogue One and it's a mediocre movie?
That wasn't me, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, I have to agree. I watched
that does sound like something
recently.
I'd say.
Yeah, it was JD. I'm sorry, it was JD. Miss you, buddy. So yeah, I don't know. Just watch Star Wars and some bullshit. Just make sure you stay away from shitty movies like The Shadow, The Rocketeer.
Rocketeer. I liked them.
We watch your mouth with The Rocketeer.
Yeah, I like The Rocketeer.
Hey, buddy, you just named your top 2 fighting games, and none of them were Marvel's Capcom 2, so I don't want to hear it.
That's because I have class.
None of them were Eternal Warriors from the Sega Genesis CD either, but
that too. Ooh. Primal Rage, anyone?
Way the Warrior for Panasonic 3DO, or White Zombie La Sexta Sister Rosa plays throughout the whole thing?
Yeah, the one track. Yeah.
The one track, yep.
And one more time, Don, where can people find Omega Level?
You can find Omega Level, of course, on YouTube. You can just search Omega Level Nerds, or you can follow the link that is on our Twitter there. So at Omega Level Nerds on Twitter.
Cool. All right, John. Now you're up.
Okay. One anime and one kind of anime, but they're both on Netflix, so it should be easy for people to check them out. One of them is called Comey Can't Communicate. It's probably one of the most interesting stories. It's about a very beautiful high school girl who's so socially awkward she cannot talk. And it's actually very, like, a lot of people probably experience this sometime in their early childhood, where they just, they think everything they say is stupid or going to be taken the wrong way. And it's very, very watchable. And then there's Ultraman on Netflix. It's done in CGI. It's really good. Lots of nice fight scenes, lots of blowing up. It's awesome. So.
All right. Well, I would recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page, comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. And my recommendation besides go see Blade is, so I finally saw Free Guy yesterday.
Oh.
That's the movie that we watched after the
I
gym.
need to watch that.
It's good. Yeah, it's not a bad movie. I was really expecting garbage, and it was actually pretty good. I will say the last couple minutes of the movie, or not couple minutes, the last action scene, like the wrapping up of the movie.
The third act.
Yeah, the third act is a little weak, but it's not bad. What do you want? It's a video game movie. That's not really a video game movie. So,
It's got Ryan Reynolds. So
it's got Ryan Reynolds, yes, and Ryan Reynolds. Haha!
Yes.
If you haven't seen the movie, you don't get that reference yet. So
nice.
All right. Well, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for listening. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.